About 8 years ago now, I found the urgent necessity to be able to control how I feel. And it's an urgent necessity. It was an urgent necessity because I acutely ran into feelings that were out of control. I'm making it sound like I went through puberty when I was 20. Especially because it's baby's first philosophical question. How do I control myself? Can I control myself? Is myself something under my control or under control of higher powers or fate or just my genetic destination, let's say? What is free will? And I think I went down the path a lot of other people went down. And that immediately doesn't necessarily sound very good because the broad way and all that. But I think it's the necessary path of self reflection and trying to learn from other people. And there are these key words like discipline and motivation and drive, and defining them is important to be able to define what exactly took someone from a place of lack of control to a place of control. And hopefully, with that tool, I can take from their experience, add to mine, and have similar effects. But the definitions seem to vary, and they vary along with your experience because as I lived what I believe to be a disciplined life, what that actually looked like had to be modified over time. As I avoided or came to terms with motivation and lack thereof, even that had to be reframed as something superficial and discardable into something that is more aligned with reality, even if then you continue to prioritize discipline because that's definitely more based. In Romans 7, Paul talks about the war between the body and the mind. In Matthew 6, Jesus says you cannot serve two masters. And in Luke 9, Jesus says you need to take up your cross daily if you want to follow him. And I think these three verses encapsulate, in ancient, simple terms, this debate that I've been having with myself in this 8-year-long experiment in self-control as to what are the tools I need to apply to my life to attain that which is at the end of the straight and narrow path. Metaphorically or literally, here we're talking about salvation. But the kingdom of heaven is an umbrella for all things if you've given your life to Christ. Necessarily so, because we're here for the time that we're here. And the time that we're here matters. And the time post-baptism, let's say, as the defining point of saved versus not saved, as considered by the symbology of it. The time after that point matters, and what you do with your life after that point matters. Not just whether or not you preach the gospel, but whether you live it. John 1:4 says, "In him was life, and that life was the light of men." That it goes beyond life eternal, that is life and light today, where so many people's lives are darkness, mine included. Which is strange to say, seeing how peaceful and prosperous life in the West is. Those three verses, specifically Romans 7:22 and 23, Matthew 6:24, and Luke 9:23, outline a structure of how to think about what is inside and what you need to do to escape the darkness that you find there, assuming you find it. I think we suffer from delusions of wealth, and even after coming to that dividing line between the former and the new, you're still at risk of delusions of poverty, where before you may cling to the idea that what you have today has value beyond what is eternal, or that the eternal is an illusion, which is a topic for another time. And afterwards, you try and lay hold of bread from heaven, of light to your darkness, but you also try and cling on to what came before, that which you claim was darkness. So to walk the path, and the path is with capital T, capital P, you need to accept a certain truth. And there are various different truths that are pillars of offense. Let's say Jesus said, "Blessed is the man who does not fall away on account of me." In the King James Version, it uses the word, "Blessed is he who's not offended on account of me," to paraphrase. And it's an interesting word, offense, or falling away, to be applied to Jesus' teachings. But he established pillars that needed to be passed by on your way to the entrance, on your way to the gate leading to the path. One of them is your status prior, and one of them is your status post. That line isn't magic per se. Baptism isn't going to change you miraculously as much as we want it to. In 1 John chapter 3, John says that if we hope to be children of God, we must purify ourselves. The word purify means removing other things that surround and potentially distract from the one thing, because you can't serve two masters. If you want to live in the light, you can't hold on to the dark. If you want something you never had, you've got to do something you've never done. This will create a war within you, and that war becomes a daily exercise in taking up your cross. Purifying means sacrificing. I am living in my own difficulty right now. Do you know how to tell if someone's a medical student? Well, don't worry, they'll tell you within 5 minutes. The semester has started. I'm living in a bit of deja vu, because from year one, I didn't want to do this. The allure of status, let's say, going to medical school, a future as a doctor, the drama you see on television. Compared to that, the reality of medical school is, well, let's just say it didn't really mesh with me, and it hasn't. I'm in my final year now, and I still haven't figured it out. I still haven't figured out how to love medicine. But from year one, my question was, can I do this without loving it? Can I brute force my way through? Is discipline the answer to a complete absence of motivation? And this may sound not very based. This may not be what you want to hear, but I think the answer is no. Mind you, this is an 8-year-long experiment. There was a gap, and medical school is 6 years, so 6 plus 2. I've run up the delay on real life beginning by quite a bit. To resolve the problem of no motivation, there is a systematic way to wean yourself off the need for enjoyment in what you're doing. But even that, you can cynically but honestly say, is really just a shift of your enjoyment from one source to another. You know, medical students will brag about how much they work or how little they sleep, and that's giving some sort of reward, and rightly so. You work hard if you can enjoy working hard for the sake of working hard, then it doesn't matter what you're working hard towards, you're going to extract success out of it. But we can't pretend you're not enjoying it. You know, I wake up early. It sucks, but I love how much it sucks. It's a small proof of how strong I am. And essentially that's why everyone gets up early. If everyone got up early, some other proof of strength would arise that would be the standard for being a disciplined person, being on the right path. But you can't serve two masters, and taking your cross up daily isn't just saying no to what you really want to do. maybe I want to play video games instead of study. Actually, definitely. But it's not just continuing to say no to what you really want to do. It's ridding yourself of those things that you want more than walking the path. In Luke 9, Jesus says, if you put your hand to the plow and look back, you're not worthy of where you're going. And in Mark 10:22, we have the rich young ruler walk away sad because Jesus offered him something, but he preferred the wealth he had. My conclusion to the question of how do I walk the path? Is it drive? Is it motivation? Is it discipline? Putting this story and these words in the Bible in those terms, discipline is a sacrifice of the present for the future / a greater purpose. Motivation is the positive emotion you feel when performing a task. And you can sprinkle technical terms on that, like dopamine. And drive is really something that David Goggins defines separately from motivation. But I think it does make sense if you consider drive as a defined greater purpose that produces motivation and inspires discipline. So the Venn diagram overlaps, but they are separate. And this act of sacrifice, this discipline, will be cutting out from your life things that give you greater pleasure than the things you need to do. The riches that you have, that you want to hold on to more than you want to take hold of what lies at the end of this narrow path. I want to graduate, I want to be a doctor, but I want to sleep in and I want to play video games. These are very, very basic things, but we all have a list, and it's embarrassing to write this list because the things that keep us from being great, the things that keep us from opening that narrow gate are very, very simple. We are very simple creatures. If the things of today create more positive emotion or motivation to do them than the things in the future or the greater goals that you have, specifically are not the kingdom of heaven, who's gonna win? In the question of, is motivation or discipline the answer? Today, in this moment, the answer is what you want to do more, you're going to do. Maybe, and this is what is going to be the conclusion to my experiment, if I sacrifice those other things that I want more than the things that truly matter, then I will have nothing else to want. To be truly great, to enter onto that narrow path even, I must be the man with nothing else.